Hours after the ceasefire deal was announced between the US and Iran, Israeli bombs started falling on Beirut, and the missiles keep flying in both directions. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says there is no ceasefire in Lebanon, though Iran insists it was part of the truce reached with the US. I want to discuss Israel's endgame in Lebanon with Shukriya Bradost, a Middle East security analyst with the Washington Institute, a think tank that promotes American interests in the Middle East. Israel says it's keeping up its fight against the militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon. Why, when that strains the ceasefire reached between the US and Iran?
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for having me. To answer your question, we have to understand key point here. When we're talking about Iran war, there is a difference between U.S. goal and objectives and Israel objectives. And for U.S. is a known goals by Trump administration. They're trying to secure a deal with the Iranian remaining part of Iranian regime, the deal that better, stronger than JCPOA, the deal that Obama secured with Iran in 2015. In a political comparison is so important and matters for Trump. So Trump's goal is reached to that deal. For Netanyahu and Israel to eliminate Iran's security threat, and that's a goal Israel trying to achieve. One of the main goals to eliminate Iranian security threat is to disarm or to weakening Hezbollah's power as the main Iranian proxy group in the region. For this reason, you can see even the attack on Hezbollah in Lebanon started weeks ago before the Iran war started. So Netanyahu, Israel already started the war against Hezbollah a week before the Iran war started. That tells you, and when you go back to Iran, you say, okay, what's the Iranian reason for pushing for this negotiation to be involved or include the ceasefire in Lebanon and against Hezbollah and asking for the fight against Hezbollah to stop? The point is here, what we know about Iran axis of resistance is they created united front. United front is mean all of them are together, this axis of resistance. And when the Iranian regime are negotiating or have a ceasefire with the US and Israel, and Hezbollah is under fire, that's mean broken, this united being broken by Israel. That's the goal. That's Israel's goal, to try to break this link, this axis of resistance. And for Iranian remaining part is so important. And why is important? Because inside Iran, there is the main base of the supporting the regime. These main base are the hardliner. They are the one that they believe in Shia ideology, different from previous commander who they have this ideology or this belief of the Ummah Islamiyya, is mean the nation of Islam. But the remaining one, they believe on the Shia Islam. It means supporting the militia groups in Hezbollah, Houthis, and other Shia militia groups. For this part of the IRGC commanders who are in the power, which one of them is Speaker of the Parliament, Ghalibaf, his name we hear these days, he will be part of this team for negotiation. So he knows this base. He trying to keep this base to support the regime. So that's a part of inside dynamic. When you zoom out and see outside what's going on for this axis of resistance, if Iran's go for negotiation with the Trump, and meanwhile Hezbollah is under Israel's attack, that means the other militia group in Iran, like Houthis, Hashd in Iran, they cannot trust Iran anymore. When the Hezbollah, the group that engage in the fight against Israel in support of Iran in this war, that means the reliability between Iranian regime and this proxy group going to be damaged if the peace or ceasefire go this way.
You mentioned negotiations before. Let's have a listen to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a second.
Following repeated approaches by the Lebanese government to open peace negotiations with us, I instructed the cabinet to begin direct negotiations with Lebanon in order to achieve two objectives. First, the disarmament of Hezbollah, and second, a historic, sustainable peace agreement between Israel and Lebanon.
Explain to our viewers why Netanyahu has approved talks with Lebanon's government when Israel's fight is with Hezbollah.
It's so important. You have to see the change in the Lebanese government. That's for first time in the Lebanese history we see the governments abandoning Hezbollah's political and security activities. For the first time, we're seeing Lebanese government expelling Iran's ambassador from Lebanon. And we're seeing Iranian citizens for first time required to have a visa to enter to Lebanon. So all these steps tells you that Lebanese government's already in the on the same page with Israel to disarm Hezbollah, and they're trying to actually have a direct negotiation with Israel, which means in the same time they are working together indirectly to disarm and weakening Hezbollah. When we're talking about the weakening Hezbollah, we're not just talking about the security and military wing of Hezbollah. We're talking about the political power of Hezbollah in Lebanon is weakening. Hezbollah's that was under Hassan Nasrallah's leadership is different from Hezbollah we see today. The new leader doesn't have the same charismatic personality that Hassan Nasrallah had, or the popularity, and that's why Hezbollah don't have this coherence and this strong holding the power in the Lebanon they had it. Look at the airport of the Beirut, the way Hezbollah had a control over the airport, the border, they don't have it anymore. So when you see the change inside Lebanon, inside the government, the reality of the power, who hold the power in this country, tells you for Israel, it wouldn't be that difficult to have a cooperation with the governments, which is willing to work in the same way that Israel is planning to work. So to disarm Hezbollah and take Hezbollah's power, political power, away from this group, the state from within state that Hezbollah created for a long time in this country.
And tell me more about this cooperation between Lebanon and Israel against Hezbollah. How tightly knit is this cooperation, do you think?
If I take you back to the previous proposal being written or proposed by European countries, the main ones came to mind is France. Macron tried to have to bring these two parties together. U.S. has been pushing for this policy to have a kind of cooperation directly between Lebanese government and Israel. None of them actually work. The reason is right now we're seeing this cooperation directly is happening between these two parties, Israel and Lebanon's own government, because for Israel it's clear. Previous proposal, previous actors couldn't make it, and the only actor can have the clear proposal or clear way to solve this issue, disarm Hezbollah and weakening Hezbollah, is government of Lebanon itself, because the governments of Lebanon knows Hezbollah better than any other actors or any other governments. They know how to deal with them. But the issue is to have a cooperation between two parties, because that goes back to the internal of Lebanon's society, political division. When we're talking about the internal society division, we're talking about the Shia and Sunni issue. Let's take our zoom on the Shia in Lebanon. The huge number of the Shia, they are still follower of the Hezbollah, because the power of the Shia came back to Lebanon due to Iranian support for Shia, the Hezbollah's power in this country. The history of the Shia being excluded in power in the Lebanon tells you that Shia seen Hezbollah as a kind of their only way to have a representative or to hold power. But when we're talking about the Lebanese governments, that's mean Lebanese government have to have a plan for this part of the population too, to bring them, include them in any political future. That's the plan that only with the Lebanese governments working with Israel, that's seen as the only threat right now, and Hezbollah using Israel attack as a kind of the card to use it to control the power. Without Israel, Hezbollah cannot use any other card to play the game inside the country, to have a more Shia following Hezbollah. And why I'm saying that, because if you go back to the population of the Shia population inside Lebanon, you will see the way Hezbollah's engaging with Iran war make these Hezbollah's followers to unhappy, to dissatisfied, because they don't want any problem, any war in Lebanon because of Iran. They want better life, better welfare in their own country. Not just Shia followers of Hezbollah, even Sunni Muslim in Lebanon and other community. They are tired of this forever war with Israel. That's why there's a best opportunity for these two actors, as I said, Israel and Lebanon's government, to cooperate in this time.
So would you say Israel's achievements in Iran have been a breakthrough for Israel's objectives in Lebanon?
We have to wait for the end of this war, how it's going to end. For now, for Israel, the day Israel actually, before even starting 12 days of war, and with all the plan, long time plan against Hezbollah, Israel has achieved some part of its goal, which is, as I explained, weakening of Hezbollah's political military power in Lebanon. Hezbollah always been Israel's main concern. One can even argue that one of the reasons 7th of October happened because Israel's focus was mainly on Hezbollah, neglecting the growing power of the Hamas and capabilities of Hamas during that time. That was one of the reasons they were shocked or surprised by 7th of October. So Hezbollah always been main target when it's coming to Iran's proxies and Iran's militia groups against Israel. For this reason, Israel trying to defeat Iran in the way that Iranian regime cannot stay in the power, to be able to help these groups to rebuild or rearm Hezbollah. That's why I'm saying we have to see and wait the end of the war, Iran war, to see how is going to end. And Israel knows that. That's why they don't know how it will end, because they're not alone in this war. They are with the U.S. and with Trump. That Trump, as I said, they're looking for the better deal. That's why Israel is trying to finish Hezbollah's job, disarm Hezbollah before this war ends. So Netanyahu cannot stand against Trump's decision. If Trump says we have a ceasefire, Netanyahu he has to go for the ceasefire. If Trump says there is end the war, as we saw during 12 days of war, suddenly the war stopped because Trump asked Netanyahu to do it. That's why for Netanyahu right now is an opportunity to finish the Hezbollah job before anything happened with the Iran war, or it's ended anyway that Trump's decide.
But tell me one more important thing. Is it possible to entirely stamp out this militant group? I mean, Hamas still exists in Gaza.
The answer is no. And the reason is because there is ideology. The ideology of this group, you can never eliminate this ideology. Look at the Al-Qaeda, ISIS, these all other non-state actors, the Islamic ideology. Ideology is going to stay forever, but the group as a power is going to diminish. The power of this group, the weapon they have, the political power they're holding, this you can have success in this perspective. But for the ideology and this group, they're going to stay forever. That's why it's difficult I can explain the way we have a war against Houthis even. The latest war we had, the U.S. with all this military power, they attacked Houthi, they couldn't end this group, which is Houthis. We're not talking about just ideology when it's come to the Houthi. We're talking about a non-state actor acting like a state, controlling territory, and have the capacities to hold the main important sea routes. So you can see this is really difficult to eliminate them forever. If you don't talk about the ideology, you talk about the location they control. If you don't talk about the location they control, you're talking about the state or country who support them. against the Houthis case, you can see China supporting Houthis in some cases. You can see Russia's supporting for Houthis, and that's how it's really difficult to defeat these groups.
So many interesting insights. Middle East security analyst Shukriya Bradost, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for having me.
And a big thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments what your hopes are for peace in the Middle East. I'm Ben Fazulin.